there, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome, thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to talk about a rhythm thing, but a rhythm thing that applies to your lead playing. And I talk a lot about counting, I talk a lot about rhythm and subdividing beats and all this kind of stuff, but sometimes you just need a way to practice it. You just need something that you can do, that you can work on, that you can try this for a few minutes every day and actually see some improvement. So I'm a big proponent of that. So let me show you what I got. I'm gonna do, let's just do the A minor pentatonic scale, right? The most common, you could do this with a major scale, you could do it with a blues scale, you could do it with any of the boxes. In fact, I encourage you to do it with as many of the boxes as you have time for. But for now, let's go with good old box one, right? 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 5, 1, 4, 1, 4, as far as the fingers go, right? Could be C, could be a different key. Doesn't really matter, totally doesn't matter, okay? Now, the first thing that you need to understand is that counting out loud is separate from using a metronome, okay? A metronome is gonna tick or beep or whatever at a consistent tempo, and that's great, and there is a time and a place for that, but until you can subdivide those beats in your head, that's just something over there making noise. If you're not actually following it, meaning you're not subdividing the beats correctly, that metronome can beep all day long or click all day long. It isn't going to help you. So I'm throwing this out there to you if you are maybe just not there yet. If you really have never spent any time doing this, this is the way you want to approach it. Not with a metronome, with body and mouth, right? With making things move, counting out loud, doing all these kinds of things, right? Okay, so it's actually a pretty easy thing that you do, assuming you know that scale. And if you don't, well, you know it now. We're gonna start by playing triplets and counting them. Okay, now these are called eighth note triplets. There are different kinds of triplets. There are quarter note triplets, there are eighth note triplets, there are 16th note triplets. But what we typically use in blues, and if you want to kind of keep a groove in mind, think about a slow blues. That kind of feel, right? And even that, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That is a 12/8, which is 3 groups of 4. That is how that works. So you're going to just play through the scale, and you're going to count out loud 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. What I want you to pay attention to is that when I get to the end, I'm on the and of 4. Now there's a couple of things that I want to point out. There's a couple of variations. Some people say 1 triplet, 2 triplet. I don't care, doesn't matter. Some people say 1 grapes, pears. Like, I really don't care. I used to always tell my students, I don't care if you call them apples, kumquats, and grapes. It doesn't matter what you call those subdivisions, as long as you call them something and you're consistent. I like to say 1 and duh. That is what I use. You've obviously heard me do that before. That is what I'm going to do. The other thing that will help with consistency is deciding whether or not you're going to repeat the top note. And you'll notice I did not. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, what I sometimes like to do is go up an octave for the to complete the beat. It's weird to me to go 4 and just stop because the beat is not complete. Again, these are things you can decide for yourself. They don't matter. They're not gonna have any bearing or any effect on how well you can do this. But if you have questions for yourself, like, oh, I didn't get to the end of the beat, is that a problem? No, it's not a problem. I doubled the top note, is that a problem? No, it's not a problem. I didn't double the top note, is that a problem? No, again, not a problem. The main thing here is that you go through this and you notice 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. And you'll notice that I had to take a breath in. Okay, it's fine. I kept counting, you just couldn't hear it. Okay, again, all of these things are not that important. The main thing that's important is that you hear the sound coming out of your mouth most of the time. Obviously, when you have to take a breath, you got to take a breath. No big deal. Now, there's a couple of things that are really, really important. Most of the stuff is not important. There are two things that I think are exceptionally important, and I want to point out to you. One is that I am emphasizing every numbered beat. We call those the downbeats, the 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm emphasizing it in my picking. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and as you go a little bit faster, that emphasis is going to get less. So when you do it slowly, please overemphasize that. Now, the other thing that I tend to do, and that I would highly recommend that you do, is tap your foot, okay? It can be either foot. In general, I actually tap my right foot, which is the one under this knee, and you can't really see it. It's down there. So I'm gonna try and tap this foot, my left, and make it really obvious. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, there are a handful of reasons why I want you to do that. They are very, very important to me, and I'm not going to bother you or burden you with them. I'm going to ask you to trust me on this one, okay? It is very easy to play those notes and miss where beat 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 are. It's very easy to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and get it all wrong. That is all wrong. Don't do that, okay? So make sure that you go slow enough that you emphasize the downbeats. Those are very, very important. And when it comes time to play with a metronome a little bit down the road, when you do try to play with the metronome, that tick is going to line up with where you are emphasizing right now. Okay, so that's really, really important. So again, very simple. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and obviously I could do like box 2, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. What I then want you to do when you get the hang of that, now when I say get the hang of it, let's be really clear about what I mean. You should be able to do that very, very comfortably at a moderate tempo. A moderate tempo is about here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay? That's very, very comfortable. Not only that, I usually make the joke that you should be able to talk to your spouse or significant other about what you want to have for dinner while you do that. It should be that comfortable. Now, obviously, you can't count out loud and have a conversation with somebody. But what you can do is you can keep your foot moving and continue to emphasize the right notes, okay? And I'm doing all those things while I'm talking to you. It can be done. When you can do that, you now have triplets, the subdivision of triplets firmly planted in your brain. And when you have that, now you can start a metronome. And the metronome, again, will keep you honest. It will keep that tempo consistent. And I highly recommend practicing to a metronome when you get to that point. The metronome can help with improving speed, with keeping your tempo nice and even and consistent all the time. There's a lot of things that metronome practice is good for. But learning how to keep time is not what a metronome is for. You have to count it yourself, and you have to be responsible for that pulse, for those downbeats in order to do it yourself. Now, one of my favorite ways to then kind of mess with it when you've got the hang of it is to do every other one. So it'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 And that might sound really, really confusing. And it probably is until you're really good at doing the other. But that's creating something called quarter note triplets, which is, again, one of those really, really cool things. And I played a bunch of quarter note triplets on that kind of little solo example I played on the way into this session today, because I wanted to demonstrate the sound of that. And I hear quarter note triplets in so much blues music. I was listening to some Stevie Ray Vaughan over the weekend. It's all over the place there. I was listening to some Robert Cray. It was all over the place. There's so many different ways, but you have to have that fundamental triplet feel. Your ear has to be able to subdivide those triplets pretty much flawlessly in order to get there. So I hope that you will take some time. Again, you could take 5 minutes each day. You could use a different pattern every day, or you could use the same pattern every day. It doesn't really matter. It won't take you very long, and you'll get the hang of this, and you should be able to count out loud, tap your foot, and play the notes. And everything should be nice and comfortable. And when you get to that point, like I said, where you can have a conversation about what you want for lunch while you're doing it, or you will know. If you wonder, can I stop counting? The answer is no. You will know when you don't have to count out loud anymore. When that tick, 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 tick is going on solid enough in your mind that you don't have to count out loud anymore. It'll be a little while. That's okay. Take your time with it. It's one of the most important things you can possibly do to improve your blues playing. Okay, so that's it for today. Try it. Try it for yourself. Try it tomorrow. Try it the day after. Try it the day after that. Write it down. Put it on a sticky note. Put it in your practice area. Don't forget it. Do it every day. All right? As always, if you have guitar playing friends you think would dig this video, I hope you'll share it with them. I'm Griff Hamlin from Blues Guitar Unleashed. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.